The Bloodline may have got the better of them at Survivor Series War Games, but the Brawling Brutes had the opportunity to get the last laugh tonight on SmackDown by ending the Usos' historic reign as undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions in the night's blockbuster main event. The high-stakes headliner capped off a broadcast that also featured a special birthday celebration for WWE Hall of Famer and Pittsburgh's own Kurt Angle. What went down when the Olympic gold medalists returned to WWE, and were Jimmy and Jay able to secure the continuation of their epic run as the top tag team in professional wrestling? Find out now with this recap of Friday Night SmackDown, for this is the Cerebral Smack Talk. Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. Once again, don't adjust your audio. Yes, it is once again I, Anthony Florio, sitting in tonight for good old MF Michael Fletcher. MF will not be joining us once again here tonight. It's because it's due to circumstances beyond his control. But the good news is MF will be making his return to our show on Monday night. He'll be back with us Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. So, MF, we're thinking of you, and this one's for you. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Bullock and I, we got this. Anthony Florio sitting in tonight for good old MF Michael Fletcher, alongside of the Phenom Michael Bullock. Of course, we had another one of our legendary SmackDown chats this evening, and let's start things off with the big match for the undisputed tag team championships. The Usos defending the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship against the team of Sheamus and Butch. You recall it was supposed to be Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, but Drew McIntyre injured, Butch filling in. So the winners of the match in roughly an even 20 minutes, and still the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions. It is the Usos. Wow. Competitive match saw the Sheamus and Butch push their twin opponents to the brink of defeat, only for a perfectly timed 1D from the Usos to the ladder and some expert interference from Sami Zayn, as he prevented the Celtic Warrior from making the save to prove the difference and ensure the historic reign of the Usos continued. Sheamus is in the midst of one of the great resurgences we have ever seen in WWE, and that did not change here. He was arguably the best wrestler in this match, and elevated from the already excellent product that we have come to expect from those involved. Sami Zayn assisting the Usos in retaining helped further that element of the storyline while protecting the babyfaces from a clean loss. A great start to the show, and the latest in the phenomenal in-ring output from both teams, which would have rated even higher without the commercial interruptions. But I'm going to give this 4 to 4.25 stars. Butch unloaded on Jey Uso with a barrage of forearms to the chest, well eclipsing the 10 that Sheamus typically delivers to his opponent and drawing a pop from the crowd. The former Pete Dunne added a moonsault from the middle rope onto the Usos at ringside as the Brawling Brutes rolled. Sami Zayn's antics at ringside, including yanking on the ring apron during near falls, were great and only helped intensify the drama. 4 to 4.25 stars. You can make an argument for this to be the fight of the night, although there's another match later in the night that you can also make an argument for when it comes to fight of the night. So there isn't much more for me to add on this. This was 4 to 4.25 stars. And, going into this, we thought this was going to be the main event, but no, they saved something else for the main event tonight. So not much more to say here. Phenom Michael Bullock, come on in. Fresh off another one of our legendary SmackDown chats as always. And oh boy, did we have a lot of fun with this undisputed tag team match. Usos successfully defend the titles in roughly an even 20 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. You couldn't start off the show any better than with a tag team title match. And going into this, we originally thought that this was going to be the main event, but no, this started off the show and turns out to be a really good match here to start it off. So, yeah, 4 to 4.25 stars is my rating for it. The commercial breaks did hurt it a little bit, but obviously the action was definitely great from beginning to end, and obviously, like you just said, the Brawling Brutes losing to the Usos clean would have hurt them, but obviously with the the interference of course, Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa definitely prevented them from losing cleanly. So we'll wait and see what happens next with this. So there's really nothing more for me to add on to it. So let's move on. Let's move on, Florio.
Yep. And next we had an in-ring segment, LA Knight calling out Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And yeah, indeed. Quick thought on that, Bullock? You want to give a quick thought on that, or do you want to move on? It's okay, either way.
There really wasn't that much to talk about, so I say we just move on.
All right. I'll give a brief thought. It was interesting for a few reasons, most notably the fact that LA Knight is paying attention and actually calling out the hints of Bray Wyatt and his involvement that have been popping up on television for weeks not. Secondly, in the Uncle Howdy video, a woman's voice can be heard in the background echoing the sentiments of the central figure. While it's impossible to be sure without isolating it, the voice sounded a lot like that of Alexa Bliss, the same Bliss who was subject of said Wyatt mind games Monday night on Raw. Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight may not have been the most obvious first program for the former's comeback, but it has featured some solid storytelling to this point, and the eventual match is going to go a long way in telling us exactly what this incarnation of Bray Wyatt is going to be all about. So, and Knight pointing out the masks hidden in the background of the injury angles was a nice touch and proves just how intricate the storyline and framing of it has been. All right, next up, we had a tag team matchup. It was Legado del Fantasma, Joaquin Wilde, and Cruz del Toro squaring off against the Viking Raiders. This match got thrown away and ended up being a no contest in 1 minute and 55 seconds because of Hit Row. Hit Row interrupted. All right. This is automatically going to be an NA, obviously. This is obvious NA. It was nice to see these three teams featured in this segment, if only because it establishes the foundation of a tag team division on SmackDown. The Usos have reigned for so long and have been so dominant that it feels as though there's no competition for them. And booking a segment like this keeps all three teams at the forefront and allows fans to get familiar with the next in line to Jimmy and Jay's throne. And in the process, sets up a series of fresh matches between those involved without things ever descending into repetition. And on top of that, it gives us the side feud of B-Fab versus Valhalla versus Zelina Vega, a program featuring women's wrestling that is not central to the title scene. Valhalla fearlessly jumping on the back of Top Dollar only to catch a beating from B-Fab was essential to proving there is no fear on the part of Valhalla. And that's really all there is to say on that. So this is an NA, but next Friday night on SmackDown in the IWC capital of the world, Chicago, we're going to see Legado del Fantasma versus Hit Row versus the Viking Raiders in a triple threat tag team matchup. So that's all there is to say there. That's going to be an interesting matchup, to say the least. So we'll see what happens with that. But for right now, let's continue on. And then we had the contract signing. Ricochet and Gunther and Ricochet signing the contract for their Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match. And it led, and we had a 2-for-1 deal. We not only had the contract signing, but the New Day came out, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and it led to a 6-man tag team matchup with the New Day and Ricochet squaring off against all three members of Imperium, Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci. And the winners of the match in roughly an even 19 minutes, it was the babyface team, Ricochet and the New Day, winning the match. All right. First off, Michael Bullock, we're gonna let you all in on one of our many running gags during our chats. Contract signing tonight. What does that mean, JBL?
It ain't gonna end well.
And did this one end well?
Absolutely not. I mean, the moment, Florio, when you knew the New Day was when they came out, it was like you knew it was only a matter of time before chaos ensued, and boy howdy it did, and to the point that Gunther picked up that table and literally threw it out of the ring. I'm like,
wow.
Holy smokes! If that's not a sign of how strong this guy is,
it's a freak.
I mean, that is absolute freak. He picked it up like it was a toy.
Yeah, that's what you said during our chat. Absolutely.
That's what I mean.
So,
That's what it is, and that's what eventually led to the match. So
which Ricochet and the New Day won in an even 19 minutes, and you and I were going back and forth as to which match was the fight of the night. Was it the tag team title match or was it this 6-man? Almost the same time. 1 minute
yeah,
difference.
yeah, it's just a 1 minute difference. I mean, I'm gonna have to say, man, that there is no easy choice here when it comes to this, but I'm gonna have to give this one the fight of the night because, and the thing is, what we just talked about, Florio, when it came to the tag title match, they unfortunately, I mean, the Brutes lost. They didn't lose cleanly, so but this one did end cleanly, so I have to give a slight edge to the fight of the night for this one here. I'll give this about maybe 4.25 stars on this one. I mean, this was an awesome bout, and like I said, the only reason why I'm giving it the fight of the night is because the match ended cleanly, while the other one did not.
Fair enough.
So,
Fair enough.
but then again, I mean, you can't go wrong with either or. I
No.
mean, you could argue that this was the second best fight of the night. I mean, I wouldn't be angry with you on that as well. So, but
No, it was
just
tough.
by the, I mean, it's no easy task. But to me,
No, it's not.
just I mean, but to me, because the match ended cleanly, I have to give this the fight of the night. But
No, that's fair
anyone
enough.
else can argue again. I mean, if you want to make this the second best fight of the night, like I said, no arguments for me. So it's yours, Florio.
No, I'm gonna go with you on this one. We'll give the tag team title match an even 4 stars. We'll give this one 4.25 stars. Um, because of the fact that this ended cleanly. So, all right, let's get into this here. All right, um, the match featuring this match here was as good as one would expect from the 6 competitors involved. The heels built heat by isolating Xavier and Kofi at different points in the match before a hot tag to Ricochet and the showdown with the Ring General. The action intensified with every passing moment, escalating until Kingston rocked Kaiser with a Trouble in Paradise and Ricochet, putting him away for the win. Nice table setter for next week's title match. Ricochet looked great, building momentum for himself, while the booking positioned him as a real contender to Gunther's Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Does he stand a chance in actually beating the unstoppable Austrian? No. But the wrestling-loving Chicago crowd should be red hot for the one and only in his quest to dethrone the Ring General. And it also highlighted New Day, who will challenge Pretty Deadly for the NXT Tag Team Championship tomorrow night at NXT Deadline, which we'll preview later on. So it served as a two-headed match here. And Xavier Woods asked Adam Pearce during the contract signing, "Have you ever watched wrestling?" Knowing full well the formality of it all would ultimately devolve into a match. And you notice Kofi and Xavier paid tribute to the late actor Jason David Frank with green and white Power Ranger inspired gear in tribute to Jason David Frank, who recently passed away. All of you Power Ranger fans out there, which I know Michael Bullock is one of.
Myself included.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure I'm F as well. So, but yeah. But anyways, that's all there was to say on that. So by a smidge, this was the fight of the night. 4.25 stars on that one. And then we had a women's tag team matchup. Then we had a backstage segment. Rey Mysterio in the trainer's room, interrupted by Scarlett and Karrion Kross, and eventually once Rey is cleared to compete, we're going to get a match with Rey Mysterio and Karrion Kross, and I can tell you right now that's going to be a banger when it happens. Can't wait to see it. And then from there we had a women's tag team matchup, as it was SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler teaming up against Liv Morgan and the main roster in-ring debut of Tegan Nox. And the winners of the match, 4 minutes and 10 seconds, it was Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox. Morgan and Nox win the match. Raquel Rodriguez provided a distraction, and it allowed and it threw Ronda Rousey off her game, and Ronda was distracted by Raquel, and that set up Shayna to eat a shining wizard by the girl with the most shiniest of wizards, the girl with the shiniest wizard. I apologize for the little brain fart there. Tegan Nox hitting Shayna Baszler with it. Liv Morgan covering her for the 1-2-3. Huge win for Nox and Morgan, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. 2-star match. I'll say it like this. Like most segments featuring the SmackDown Women's Division, this was rushed and underdeveloped. Worse yet, it placed the newly returned Nox in a position of weakness as the babyface in peril rather than letting her receive the hot tag. Yes, Liv Morgan is more recognizable and has the stronger connection with the fans, but the best way to establish one of those is by spotlighting talent, as she was over the summer. Nox could have benefited exponentially from that, but was instead lucky to score the win after interference from Raquel Rodriguez. It's backward booking that helps no one and makes the babyfaces look amateurish, an ongoing problem for anyone not named Ronda Rousey on Friday nights. And a quick video clued the audience into the plight of Nox's character and her return on last week's show. And I said big win for Morgan and Nox because of the fact that next Friday night on SmackDown in Chicago, loaded show next week, we're going to see Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox challenge. They will be challenging Dakota Kai and Io Sky of Damage Control for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. So, golden opportunity for Morgan and Nox. We'll see what happens next week in Chicago. But for tonight, this was a 2-star match. And Michael Bullock, what can you say? Your thoughts on the main roster in-ring debut of Tegan Nox, and hey, Morgan and Nox, big win tonight, a championship committee moment, as they will now challenge Dakota Kai and Io Sky for the women's tag team titles next week in Chicago.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, a big win for Liv and Tegan, and I mean, this is the first match, and obviously with this being a short match, you can't really make that much of it in the short amount of time that she did get, but just seeing her and Shayna in there was it rekindled a lot from their days of the original NXT. So, and yeah, now thanks to that distraction and the win, now they're gonna get a shot at Damage Control, Dakota Kai and Io Sky next week for the title. So we'll see what happens with that. So there's really nothing more for me to add, but I'm just gonna say I think Damage Control is gonna retain because I think Bayley's gonna have a little something to say about that. So there's really nothing more for me to say. It's yours.
All right, and then we close the show with the birthday celebration for Kurt Angle, interrupted by the Alpha Academy, and then Kurt Angle brings out not only Gable Steveson, but also a milk truck. And we had a throwback to one of the iconic moments in WWE history, which took place on Monday Night Raw the night after SummerSlam 2001 at the old Arco Arena in Sacramento. It was August 20th, 2001. Kurt Angle had a milk truck, and he sprayed down and unleashed it on Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Alliance when they were in the ring. And it was one of the greatest, most iconic moments in WWE history. And we had an homage to that here tonight, with Kurt Angle and Gable Steveson throwing milk at the Alpha Academy, and then Kurt Angle spraying down the Alpha Academy. So there isn't much more for me to add on this when it comes to setting it up. Michael Bullock, what can I say? Like JR famously said in that 2001 moment, Milkomania was running wild once again.
Yes, and you thought that the Alpha Academy was going to get the last laugh on Kurt Angle and ruining the celebration, because it was months ago when Kurt Angle ruined it for the Alpha Academy when it came to them and the Street Profits. So, oh no, Kurt Angle wasn't going to let them get the last laugh, thanks to Gable Steveson and getting to relive the moment where he brought out the milk truck and they threw milk and then spraying on the Alpha Academy, and Milkomania was once again running wild. So, nice little way to rehash a little bit of something from years ago. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say on it. It's yours, Florio.
All right. It was a quick and harmless skit there. It was a quick and harmless callback to a classic WWE skit that we all remember from 2001, obviously. But there are those that are going to poo-poo all over this. The Hall of Famer was barely allowed to address the fans in his hometown, instead playing second or third fiddle in a segment that was hyped on his name. It was suspect and a continuation of the questionable use of a legendary figure like Angle that dates back to his previous run with the company. Angle deserves, and more importantly, has earned better than this. Yes, it put the great Gable at the forefront and let him have the opportunity to shine and gave fans the image of Steveson standing alongside Angle, but there are times when a legend should be highlighted, and this was one such moment. It was a rare miss from Triple H and arguably the worst segment of television in his regime. And Michael Cole with all these ridiculous puns. Alpha Academy better move. Angle is milking this for all it's worth. This is utterly ridiculous. Angle is milking this for all it's worth. Yeah, that definitely put a small damper on what was otherwise a very good show tonight. Not quite the banger that last week's was. Last week's show was an absolute banger in Buffalo, but tonight in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, this had a little bit of McMagma's hands written all over this one.
Yeah, I was hoping for a little more out of Kurt Angle there. I mean, I would have loved to have had like some present superstars, maybe some legends show up to pay respects to him. That would have been great. I would have loved to have seen that, but it is what it is. But this was still a good show. We had two great matches. Of course, that 6-man tag was the fight of the night. Very close second was that tag team title matchup. And then we had a solid but not overly spectacular women's tag match, throwaway tag team match. And then a couple of good things here and there. I could probably give this probably somewhere around 7.5 out of 10, maybe 8. I don't know. But I think actually, no, I'm going to give it more around 7.5. I mean, because of, especially because of that ending. But it was still a very good show, though, especially with those two great matches that you got to go out of your way to see. Both of them were great. For all the diehard Angle fans, I'm sure you'll want to see the end segment there and that fun throwback to 01. But other than that, 7.5 for me. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, I say 7.5, I think is the appropriate rating. It would have been a lot higher if that birthday celebration had been a little better than what we got.
Yeah, 7.5. I mean, yeah, I mean this had the recipe of this had McMagma's hands written all over this one. No doubt about it in my damn mind. I mean, this was a rare swing and a miss for Triple H's crew here. I mean, if that segment had been better, I would have given it a much higher rating. I mean, at least have Angle talk more, or maybe even have some current superstars or even some legends from the past that know everything about Kurt Angle show up. Names like John Cena. I mean, if you had him show up, I mean, that would have been something, because they had some great matches, and Cena was the one who inducted Kurt Angle. You could have had him there. You could even have The Undertaker there. I mean, so many names I could think of. But they had to go this route, and yeah, it was a swing and a miss. It was a swing and a miss with the with the tag team match, and the women's tag team was that match was just a little too short for my liking. But other than those three, everything else was good. But because of those three things, I can only give it 7.5. So nothing more to say. Let's get on to Rampage.
This week's show featured 2 title matches, with one of those bouts being the first time that belt has been defended on a particular belt was defended on All Elite Wrestling Television. Orange Cassidy put his All Atlantic Championship on the line, but we also saw Hikaru Shida defend her Regina de Wave title against the Bunny. Jon Moxley was set to battle Konosuke Takeshita. Lee Moriarty and W. Morrissey were in action, and we heard from Athena, Ruby Soho, and Ty Mello. Let's take a look at what went down during tonight's show, as we are now going to get into AEW Rampage here as we continue on with the Cerebral Smack Talk here tonight. And let's dive on into it. Rampage, of course, taped as always. It was taped from the HEB Center in Cedar Park, Texas. Taped this past Wednesday night. And we started off with that match between Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita. Jon Moxley wins the match. 14 minutes and 6 seconds. This was the fight of the night for me. I'm going to give this about 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. You could also make an argument for 4 as well. This match had a lot of physicality and was a nice follow-up from their first encounter in July at the Fyter Fest. Takeshita came close to winning a few times and even kicked out of the paradigm shift after a 1 count, but he was unable to survive the Bulldog choke. And then after the match, Hangman Adam Page ran down, brawled with Moxley until Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, the Blackpool Combat Club, broke things up. It's surprising AEW gave up the chance to have Moxley do his entrance, but maybe the company only has the licensing rights to play his music so many times every year. Not showing his entrance may have been intentional. Takeshita moves really well for someone who is as big as he is. He might not look like he is huge because he is well proportioned, but he's a big dude, and his Hurricanrana out of nowhere was a fun spot. Moxley was busted open when we returned from the commercial break due to the big boot Takeshita had hit at ringside, and Mox and Takeshita trading stomps was a fun sequence. This, to me, was the fight of the night. I'm going to give it in excess of 3 3/4 to 4 stars. Absolutely fantastic match. And I would have to say one of the best matches in the history of Rampage. So, not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, what a way to start it off. Jon Moxley defeating Konosuke Takeshita. Fantastic, hard-hitting bout. 14 minutes and 6 seconds.
Yeah, what a match this was. I mean, one of the best matches of that I've seen on Rampage in a long time. And what did you give this, Florio?
3 3/4, teetering on 4.
I'll give it an even 4. I mean, this was a fantastic match. I mean, with the way these two were going at it, I mean, it was just so awesome. And then, yeah, the outcome was never in doubt. But boy, I mean, what a match! And then, of course, you had Hangman Adam Page show up, and they started brawling again. So yeah, somewhere down the line, these two are bound to face off because there's a lot of unfinished business with these two. So 4 stars for me. It's yours, Florio.
All right, I want to address this championship belt. It's called the Regina de Wave Championship. It's called the Wave Single Championship. Out of the Pro Wrestling Wave promotion. It's a Japanese women's championship belt that is currently held by Hikaru Shida. Hikaru Shida won that title back on August 14th of this year with a victory over Emi Sakura at the Wave 15th anniversary Carnival Wave in Tokyo, Japan. And Shida, ironically, is a 2-time holder of that title. So just wanted to, give a quick little backstory here. I'm sure MF would have dropped some 96, 97 Jim Ross knowledge on this title. I'm sure he probably follows this promotion, but But anyways, this next match was for that Regina the Wave Championship. The champion Hikaru Shida defending against the Bunny. Of course, the Bunny had Penelope Ford in her corner. Winner of the match in 7 minutes and 26 seconds, and still the Regina the Wave champion. It is Hikaru Shida. Michael Bullock, your thoughts? 7 minutes 26 seconds. Shida defeats the Bunny to retain the Regina the Wave championship.
I'll give this about 2.5. I mean, this was a fine match here, but yeah, I mean, you did have a little bit of an interference, obviously, from Penelope Ford. But yeah, I mean, the outcome to me was never a doubt. So to me, I mean, this was a 2.5 star match. And of course, there's really nothing more for me to say except Florio. When it comes to the Bunny and Penelope Ford, what is it like? What do we like to say about those two? What are they?
Crazier than pet coons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No but let's not just say it to those two, because I would not want to come face to face with those two crazy beauties.
Oh, no, sir. But anywho, 2.5 stars for me. Decent match, but there were a few spots that could have looked better. At least they had a decent amount of time to work this week. And Excalibur gave a quick rundown of Wave Wrestling before the match so fans at home know where the title Shida holds comes from. He didn't have enough time to give much info, but he did the best he could with only a few seconds. Jamie Hayter showing up for a stare down with Shida to end the segment was a nice way to tease their future encounter. It was simple and effective. We don't always need a brawl. And referee Aubrey Edwards stopping her count simply because the kendo stick was thrown into the ring was kind of weird. Had she just counted the pin, nothing would have happened anyway. It felt like unnecessary interference. 2.5 stars for this. Then we had a cutout match. Big Bill and Lee Moriarty squaring off against Clayton Bloodstone and Izzy James. Big Bill, Lee Moriarty, 2 minutes and 1 second. Yeah, we're not even going to waste time on that. Pointless. Could have been aired on Dark. It was the definition of a squash match. Obviously ended with the two signed names beating the local talents. It had one or two fun moments, but it was ultimately just to make the farm seem relevant. The match felt pointless and could have been aired on AEW Dark, but everybody did a decent job of what they had to work with. It just didn't offer enough opportunities for anything interesting. Dud. This was the worst fight of the night. And then the main event of the evening, All Atlantic Championship on the line. The champion, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, defending the title against a mystery opponent handpicked by Kip Sabian. And the mystery opponent turned out to be a gentleman formerly of NXT UK, Trent Seven. Yes, Trent Seven of Mustache Mountain. Remember Mustache Mountain? Him and Tyler Bate. One of the great moments in NXT history. When in the UK, they took the NXT tag team titles from the Undisputed Era a number of years ago. We all remember that. One of the great moments of all time. But yes, that Trent Seven, who teamed with Tyler Bate as part of Mustache Mountain, one of the great teams in NXT UK history. He challenged Orange Cassidy. But at the end of the night, the winner of the match in 11 minutes and 55 seconds, and still the AEW All-Atlantic champion, it is freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. Second best fight of the night. I will give it about 3.25 stars. Fun and frenetic match with a few standout spots. It'll be interesting to see if Seven pops up again in AEW or even Ring of Honor anytime soon. Having Sabian choose another UK talent was a nice touch. The impact of Seven's hand hitting the ring post was so loud, he might have legitimately hurt himself a little. Seven faking a chop before hitting a DDT was a good spot. The superplex Seven hit late in the match looked like a nasty landing for Cassidy, but he recovered quickly. And Cassidy's chest was quite red after taking those chops from Seven. 3.25, teetering on 3.5 stars. Second best fight of the night. Michael Bullock, how about it? Trent Seven, formerly of NXT UK and Mustache Mountain fame with Tyler Bate, going after Orange Cassidy in the All-Atlantic Championship, but freshly squeezed retains the title in 11 minutes and 55 seconds.
Yeah, this was a really good match here. This was about a 3.25, maybe even yeah, 3.25 stars is my rating for it. I mean, yeah, I mean, Trent Seven, I mean, good to see him again. I mean, especially getting the opportunity over for the All Atlantic title. So, yeah, nice debut here. So, but there's really nothing more for me to say. And as far as my overall rating for this edition of Rampage, um, I'll give this about maybe another 7, 7.5. I mean, it was a good show. I mean, there was only, I mean, you only had that one dud match with that the tag team, of course, with Lee Moriarty and Big Bill squashing those two Hammernager jabroni jobbers. So, but obviously the highlights are the All Atlantic title match, and of course, and the opening match with John Moxley. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours for you.
Okay. Yeah, about 7, maybe 7.5 for this as well. I'm leaning more towards 7, because we had 2 very good matches. We were bookended by Moxley and Takeshita and Cassidy and 7 for the All Atlantic Championship. Both of those were very good matches. We had a solid women's match with Sheeta and the Bunny for the Regina the Wave title, 1 dud match. Yeah, about 7, 7.5, but I thought SmackDown was slightly better. So not much more to say on that. So with that, let's get into our preview of NXT Deadline, which takes place tomorrow night at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, the Capitol Wrestling Center there, the CWC. And go. All right, let's do our best here. Let me see. All right. All right. So let's dive on in. I guess this was made this past week. All right. I just wanted to make sure I had everything ready to go here. All right. So it's a 5-match card, and let's dive on in. Here we go. First match that was made this past Tuesday night. It will be Alba Fire squaring off against Isla Dawn. And, well, all right, here we go. So, okay, so there's no NXT Women's Champion. All right. Yep, Alba Fire squaring off against Isla Dawn here. So, yeah, this is a tough one here. This one literally can go either way. It really, really can. And I honestly don't know which way to lean, but I would probably say I probably would go with Isla Dawn to win this match. I mean, because she is the new talent, and I think they want to. I think they're trying to get her over, and we saw that this past Tuesday night on NXT when Isla Dawn went over in her match. I believe it was against Thea Hale of Chase University. But all right. It says a lot for WWE to put this singles match on the pay-per-view instead of the already established Creed Brothers Indus-Sher feud or another title bout. Could have been a television feud to play out over December as fallout from Isla Dawn costing Alba Fire the last woman standing match a few weeks back on NXT, particularly as there isn't anything to spice it up. No gimmicks, and it's not a number 1 contender bout. The creative team has simply avoided the Iron Survivor Challenge and is going for a grudge feud for the sake of it. With that in mind, the result doesn't matter really. If Fire wins, it'll be a result of WWE wanting her to win back some of the momentum she lost by unsuccessfully challenging Mandy Rose previously. If Dawn wins, it will be because she's the newcomer who is in more need of scoring some victories to establish her place on the card. as Fire shouldn't be in the women's title picture anytime soon. She can stand to take the loss more. So I'm going to go with Isla Dawn to win this match. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Isla Dawn versus Alba Fire. Your thoughts?
And Flora, you're forgetting another reason why maybe it would make more sense for Isla Dawn to win when it comes to Alba Fire.
And that is
that maybe that she could be someday on her way to the main roster.
That's right. Yes, absolutely.
I remember we talked about it recently. So I think that's another reason why I see Isla Dawn winning this one. Not only that, it doesn't make sense to have Alba Fire back in the picture anytime soon when it comes to the title, but I think she could be on her way to the main roster at some point. And I'll tell you what, whether she goes to Raw or SmackDown, it'll be a huge boost to the women's division. So I think, in my personal opinion, and this is just mine, I don't know where Florio stands on this one. I think Monday Night Raw really needs her. Because here's the thing. Now, when it comes to the other set of women, and that, I think when it comes to Toxic Attraction, I think they're going to be the ones going to SmackDown, because we've seen Toxic Attraction on SmackDown. So that's why I think, because of that, I think Alba Fire on Raw totally makes more sense. I don't know where Florio stands on it, but we'll see. So I'm going with Isla Dawn to win this one. It's yours, Florio.
If Raw were to get that one, I'll say this: I'm not really too crazy about the Alba Fire gimmick. I would rather Raw bring her back as Kaylee Ray, the scary Queen of Scots. That's who I want to see personally, but we'll see. I think
that could be the case, especially with who's running things now.
Triple H. So I wouldn't mind if Triple H repackaged her and brought her back as Kaylee Ray, the scary Queen of Scots. I wouldn't mind that at all. But then again, MF would love to have her on SmackDown because, MF knows her a lot more than we do. So he's followed her career damn near forever, going back to some indie promotion. I forgot the name of it. But anyways, let's get into our next match. And Bullock, you're going to lead it off. NXT Tag Team Championship match on the line. Pretty Deadly defending the titles against Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods of the New Day. Bullock, your thoughts on this NXT Tag Team title matchup?
Yeah, this should be a really good one. This will be the toughest challenge for Pretty Deadly, because they're going up against a team that's had a pretty successful reign when it comes to either the Raw or SmackDown Tag Team titles. And this is a chance for the New Day to make history. They could go for the tag team version of the Triple Crown, but I don't see it happening here. I think Pretty Deadly's going to win this one, and it would be probably the biggest win for them since joining NXT. So, Pretty Deadly wins and retains. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, when the New Day surprisingly popped up in NXT, there's no need for a big build to a title match. They're arguably one of the best tag teams in WWE history and always in contention for gold. There are 3 appealing reasons why Kofi and Xavier may win the titles as well, rather than just to give Pretty Deadly a notable tandem to face. First and foremost, having the New Day on NXT could bump the ratings. They're a popular act from the main roster who can draw in more casual viewers tomorrow night. Secondly, as newcomers to the brand, any opponents they have will be fresh matches, while Kit Wilson and Elton Prince have already faced teams like Malik Blade and Idris Anafi, Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs, and the Creed brothers. Lastly, the Usos just overtook the New Day's record for the longest WWE Tag Team title reign. If Kofi and Xavier won the NXT Tag Team titles, they'd match the Revival as the only team in history to win the NXT, Raw, and SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Don't count them out, but don't hold your breath either. It is far more likely WWE just wanted to do something fun and give Pretty Deadly a new team to face. If they beat the New Day, they'll get a bigger boost to their credibility, whether you like them or you don't. Winners and still the NXT Tag Team Champions, Pretty Deadly. So now we're going to move on to the two matches that are going to make this show what it is. One for the women and one for the men. A match that was created by WWE Hall of Famer, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, the head of NXT. And here it is. Iron Survivor Challenge. And these rules don't just apply to the women, but they also apply to the men as well. 5 men and 5 women will compete in this unique 25-minute match as they battle each other and the clock. 2 superstars will start the match, and every 5 minutes, a new superstar will enter the match until all 5 are in the ring. The goal is to have the most falls when the clock hits 25 minutes. Falls can be won at any time via pinfall, submission, or disqualification. No countouts. When a superstar scores a fall, they will earn a point. However, when a superstar loses a fall, that superstar must pay the penalty. They are forced out of the ring and into a penalty box for 90 seconds. Once the 90 seconds are up, that superstar can re-enter the match. The superstar who has scored the most falls when the clock hits 25 minutes will be named the Iron Survivor and become the number 1 contender to the NXT Women's Championship and NXT Championship, respectively. Got all that? Hope so, because there's going to be a quiz later. All right, so here we go. Started off with the women's Iron Survivor match. And bear with me for a moment here. Okay. All right, so in no particular order, it will be Zoe Stark versus Cora Jade versus Roxanne Perez versus Kiana James versus Indy Hartwell. All right. Roxanne Perez is going into the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge match as the smallest competitor, but the easy favorite to win. If this was a shoot fight, Zoe Stark would have the advantage, but she, Cora Jade, and Kiana James are all heels. Since the winner of this will face Mandy Rose of a heel, villain dynamic, not likely to happen. Indy Hartwell is the only one who could possibly win other than Roxanne Perez, but she's been heading toward a heel turn for months. Losing this will probably be what puts her over the edge. Unless WWE specifically plans to give Hartwell this victory just to stall and come back around to Perez a few weeks later, the sole babyface has this one. So I'm going to go with Roxanne Perez to win this match. And I say she will be the female Iron Survivor. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But considering that she's the only pure babyface in this match, and you know they want to do the babyface versus heel dynamic, it only makes sense to have Roxanne Perez win this match. So I'm going with Roxanne Perez to win this match. Michael Bullock, all right, your new match gimmick, your new Iron Survivor challenge. Shawn Michaels made it. And we're going to talk about the women's one first. So I got Roxanne Perez winning. Do you agree or do you disagree? Do you have somebody else? So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got Roxanne Perez winning this one as well, because having a heel going up against another heel doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, I know part of me wants to see Zoe Stark win to push her new heel character, but again, this goes back to the whole heel versus heel thing, which, like I said, wouldn't make any sense. So, and especially with Indy Hartwell possibly turning heel as well. So, yeah, and because of that, I think Roxanne Perez is going to win it, and I think she's going to be the one to challenge Mandy Rose next. So, there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on to the men's portion of it.
All right, the men's Iron Survivor Challenge, where the winner will be the number 1 contender for the NXT Championship. By the way, the women, of course, for the right to become number 1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. This is to determine the number 1 contender for the NXT Championship. No particular order. Competitors are as follows: Carmelo Hayes versus JD McDonough versus Grayson Waller versus Joe Gacy versus Axiom. Michael Bullock, pick me a winner.
Yeah, to me, I'm going to go with Carmelo Hayes on this one. I mean, I think I mean, look, he's already had so many opportunities at the NXT North American title. I think it's because of how good he is. I think it's time for him to move on to the next big thing, and that's the NXT Championship. I mean, Grayson Waller to me doesn't make sense since he hasn't really, proven him that self yet. I mean, Joe Gacy has already faced him, and yeah, we've already seen that. JD McDonough's already had a chance at him. Axiom, I don't think is ready, quite ready yet. So to me, the choice is Carmelo Hayes. So it's yours, Florio.
Unlike how the women's match leans toward the sole babyface winning, the men's Iron Survivor Challenge has the opposite situation going on. Axiom is the only babyface and stands virtually no chance of winning. Not only are both Braun Breaker and Apollo Crews more properly set up to fight a heel, Axiom just doesn't pose the same threat. No one would buy into him becoming the next champion. That also rules out Joe Gacy and JD McDonough. They've both had numerous attempts to win the NXT Championship and both came up short. Running back those programs again would feel superfluous. It's all down to Grayson Waller and Carmelo Hayes. Whoever wins will probably fight for the title at the next NXT pay-per-view, which will be the NXT Vengeance Day on Saturday, February 4th, which will be going on the road at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, the home of the Hornets. While the other stands a good chance of becoming number one contender when Stand and Deliver goes down on WrestleMania 39 weekend in April. Hardest match to predict on the card. But, I mean, it could go either way. I mean, it's definitely between Carmelo Hayes and Grayson Waller. I mean, Bullock, you make a great argument for Carmelo Hayes. But I think it's the hardest match to predict on the card. And since Waller could be making his way to the main roster soon after a tryout on main event, I think the slight edge goes to him. So I'm going to take a chance and go with Grayson Waller to win. But if Apollo Crews, or I should say if Carmelo Hayes wins, I would not at all be surprised. So, but I will go with Grace. I'm going to take a chance and go with Waller to win. Main event of the evening for the NXT Championship, the champion, Braun Breaker, defending against Apollo Crews. There's always a chance. Apollo Crews was put on NXT as the guy to eventually dethrone Braun Breaker. Crews is a former Intercontinental and United States Heavyweight Champion with all the skills necessary to take the title holder out and become the new head of the brand. However, the investment in Braun Breaker has been too substantial for him to just drop the belt to another main roster guy who stepped down to the developmental show to become a bigger fish in a smaller pond. Breaker already temporarily lost it to Dolph Ziggler back in March of this year. Rehashing that rather than putting the belt on someone homegrown from NXT would send a message that the names in the Iron Survivor Challenge aren't good enough. Plus, had Crews been the one WWE had in mind for the next champion, why wait so long to book this match? He has cooled down compared to the buzz of his initial return to NXT. WWE should have struck while the iron was hot. So winner and still the NXT champion, it is Braun Breaker. Michael Bullock, take it home.
Yeah, I mean, like, you basically made the points with everything. So to me, I'm with you. I'm going with Braun Breaker to retain the NXT title. So there's really nothing more to say except let's call it a night.
That's exactly what we're going to do. That will put the bow on this edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you Monday night, right back here on the Tone 25 for another edition of Ridiculously Raw. And I can confirm good old MF Michael Fletcher will make his return on the show. MF will be back with us on Monday night. Monday Night Raw, of course. We'll review Monday Night Raw. Those two huge contender matches. Bobby Lashley, Seth frickin' Rollins. The winner will be the number one contender for Austin Theory and the United States Heavyweight Championship. And then Bayley, Alexa Bliss, the winner of that match, will challenge Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship down the road. And then, of course, my reviews of Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. And Impact Wrestling, let me tell you, there's a match that I'm still gushing about, and you're going to hear all about it Monday night. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Wednesday night, and that'll be after Raw as always. Wednesday night, 10:30, over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. It will be Wednesday Night Madness. We're going to do our recap of NXT Deadline on that show, along with NXT and, of course, AEW Dynamite. And we will preview Thursday Night Football, huge matchup, the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. First place in the NFC West on the line in that one. So we'll get into that on Wednesday. Thursday night, also at 10:30 here on the Tone 25. It will be the week 15 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Thursday. Time permitting, we'll recap 49ers Seahawks, and then we'll get into all the remaining games of week 15, including some notable games. Of course, the game of the week, of course, the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Very likely will be for first place in the AFC East. Some other great matchups as well, and we'll get into all that on Thursday. And then next Friday night, MF will be back with the Cerebral Smack Talk, as we will have Friday night SmackDown and AEW Rampage as always, and that's it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher. Thinking of you, MF. We missed you this week, but we can't wait to see you back here on Monday. The shows haven't been the same without you, but don't worry, we've been holding it down as only we can. So we can't wait to see you back Monday night, and we hope all is well with you, and we miss you, man. So, but MF will be back Monday night. So, and then of course we can't forget the other member of our quartet, of course, the first lady of this show, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson, in spirit for her as well. So, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. And until Monday night, for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching the Cerebral Smack Talk right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long, and bye, everybody. Bye.